Good evening, everybody. Well, it's evening where I am. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if it's your first time coming across one of my videos. My name is the Mature Exotical Lady, and I'm just about to go off and do an evening walk, get some fresh air. I've been working in my chambers all day today because I was in an inquest for 2 days, and so I didn't get out to do my usual sort of lunchtime walk today for some reason. Time just really passed, so I'm doing it now. But anyway, everybody, here in the UK it's the election tomorrow, and means that the whole country is going to go and vote to decide who the next Prime Minister of the UK will be, the incoming party. It's not looking too good for the Conservatives, and I must say, I mean, I'm not one of these people who likes to secretly go and vote. I'm an unashamed Conservative Tory. I am. I believe that most black and brown people, if they were to really look at their history, I believe that they are actually our parents, you know, who first sort of settled in the United Kingdom from the Caribbean. My father was from the Caribbean, are actually Tories. You know, if we look at our true sort of political beliefs, we are very much, or my father certainly was self-employed most of his life in the UK, ran several businesses, and that is a trait that seemed to follow me very early on in my life. I became self-employed really. Had periods of employment, but in the main I've been self-employed. My children have also followed that route, apart from the youngest one, who is yet to sort of finish university. And I find that, you know, the policies that generally come through from the Tories tend to favour someone like me, who just doesn't believe, really, if I'm honest, that any party really does what it says. You know, at the end of the day, you're on your own, aren't you? You know, and that's just the truth of the matter. So you can't really get too caught up in what the, you know, central government's going to provide for you. At the end of the day, you've got to be prepared to paddle your own canoe, regardless of which party's in power. But I just genuinely believe in a sort of capitalism, really. I believe that if you've got talent, if you've got skills, that you should be able to get value for those skills. You know, you should be able to earn money from those skills or the experience that you bring if you're putting in the work. So yeah, I know they're probably not going to come back in, but I will vote Tory. And I think we've sort of got a pattern, really, of having one political party in power for over 10 years or more, and then everybody falls out badly with that party, and then we sort of go to the other party, the other main party, usually between the Conservatives or Labour Party in the UK, and you know, they sort of, the opposition gets in by virtue of the fact that we're really just fed up with the party that has been in power for the last 10 or more years. That seems to be, since I was old enough to start voting, 18, that seems to be the pattern in the United Kingdom, you know. So, I mean, I was thinking about, I toyed with just sort of like flipping over to Labour when I heard, I mean, I don't know how true this is. I haven't really looked at it in enough detail, if I'm completely honest with you. But I heard they were toying with the idea of negotiating to bring back some of the benefits of you know, being part of not being part of the EU, but having sort of mutual agreements to allow people to at least have free movement again, which I think has been an absolute disaster since Brexit, you know, for the United Kingdom. Right? Not being able to have free movement in and out of Europe for either travelling or business has been an absolute disaster. I'm sorry, that's my opinion. I remember I started up a little side hustle, if you want to call it that. It's more of a hobby, really, selling leather bags. I love leather bags, and so at one point I thought I'd just buy so many of these things, I might as well just buy them and sell them, because I really believe in them, especially Italian leather. I love Italian leather. And for some of you who may have watched my earlier video, I actually bought an apartment. I bought an apartment in Italy, southern Italy. I just love Italy, and the quality of their leather is just superb. Okay, so I remember I started doing a little business for myself, selling some of the quality leather bags, and this would have been a couple of years before the referendum, and then we voted ourselves out of the EU. And I remember the difference in trying to order. I mean, admittedly, we've had the pandemic, and all that has affected trade generally anyway, you know, since we actually left the EU. But it's certainly different now. It's absolutely different now. When I try to order some more bags, I mean, it's a lot more, it's costing more for sure, to the point where I haven't even bothered this last round, to be honest. And I don't think I will bother. You know, what I probably would do is just sell them from Italy. Keep a supply of bags in the Italy apartment, so that I would probably sell them into the UK from Italy, rather than importing them to the UK and selling them, you know, because then you can just add the postage on, and people could just pay the postage. But anyway, so we got the election, you know, and we'll see how that goes. Hopefully it's not going to be too much of a slaughter for the Conservative Party. But yeah, I mean, just my experience really of also, you know, I've done a lot of work with local authorities over the years, different local authorities across the United Kingdom, providing legal services. And also, before I became a lawyer, I was in adult social care. I was in adult social care, and I was in children's services, because I first qualified in social work. My first career was actually in social work, and I sort of did well in that, actually. And I became an independent social worker. I was a deputy manager in a child protection team, and also fostering and adoption services. And I became an approved social worker, which was a social work, in them days, it was a social worker who was specialised in making applications for people who might have needed mental health treatment, to be admitted into a mental health unit within a hospital, to be properly assessed and treated. So that was my career before I decided to train and become a barrister. And that was many years ago now. But combined with having that career and you know, transitioning and becoming a barrister, I've worked for a lot of local authorities, or done work for a lot of local authorities, and so I've kind of seen how they're run internally, you know. And yeah, I've just always found the Tory run councils to be, generally speaking, certainly more efficient from a business point of view, you know. Yeah, but anyway, let's see how that goes. And I want to say thank you. I've had a few more subscribers, and thank you very much. You know, I've got like 47 subscribers now, and I started uploading to this channel about 3 weeks ago as a new YouTuber, very new YouTuber, and so I feel really quite proud of myself. I mean, I've not really promoted it outside of YouTube because I believe in a sort of organic process, really. You know, I want people to come across my videos and like the videos and want to subscribe. I don't want to force myself. I don't want to force myself on people, and I certainly don't want to force myself on people who to sort of, you know, follow me just because they might know me or something like that, because what I offer in terms of content may have nothing to do with your interests, you know. I mean, that's happened to me where I've got friends, or I wouldn't say friends, but people who I know who have, you know, set up YouTube channels, and I've subscribed to be supportive, but if I'm honest, I don't really watch their videos because I don't really, you know, some of them I find interesting, but in the main, you don't just watch for the sake of watching, do you? You have to find yourself genuinely interested in what somebody is saying, or be able to relate to their life in order to sort of justify your time, because time is valuable these days. So yeah, so I'm hoping that organically the channel will, you know, get subscribers, and that will be nice, you know. I'm happy regardless of what. I will still make these videos because I'm actually enjoying them. Yeah, so thank you very much. Thank you. So just to say that, thinking about what I will do with the channel, I've decided that I'm going to do like at least 2 separate series, if I can call it that, on issues that I find are relevant to me in my journey. For those of you who may have watched a previous video that explained really that I'm kind of going through a process of rediscovering myself from a personal perspective, not professionally. Professionally, I'm fine and very happy in my career, you know, with what I do. I love what I do. But personally, I had a couple of things change dramatically in my life, affecting my health and my personal circumstances in the same year, 2020, when we had the pandemic. And ever since then, I've been on a journey to sort of rebalance and recalibrate myself, you know. And I've been thinking a lot about how events have affected my life, really. Personal events have affected my life, and my family, and how I grew up. I did a video, for those of you who might be interested, on growing up in an unconventional family as a biracial woman, you know, born in the late 1960s in West London, sort of thing. And I really want to expand on that more. And I don't know, I keep thinking I'm seeing something on my eye, guys. Sorry. And basically what it is as well, because I essentially work with people issues, you know, in my professions, both, as I said, in my first career as a social worker and in my career as a barrister now, the areas where I have helped people, or where I represent people mainly, in the main, are in personal circumstances. So it's around family law, you know, it's around planning, private client planning work, so people planning their finances and their life, protecting their family members in terms of the future, in terms of you know, making wills, setting up a trust, you know, probate, inheritance work, divorce, you know, family breakdown, contact with children, contact with adults, vulnerable adults, disability, challenging local authorities for services, you know, immigration, wanting loved ones to come to the country, or, you know, helping people to get access via challenging decisions on visas, you know. So all these sorts of areas where I have practiced to help individuals in families and family units, yeah. And the fact that obviously we all are, and I'm a part of a family unit. I have crisis in my life, just like any other family. So yeah, I want to do a series on family systems, right? From the perspective of the family unit, from the perspective of family issues, solutions to family problems, the individuals in families, and also on autism. Because I was thinking a lot about how, you know, when I was talking growing up in an unconventional family, I'm thinking a lot about how I managed to sort of, you know, I'm not rich financially, I'm not rich, but, you know, I am comfortable. I managed, despite the adversities in my life growing up, to be relatively successful, some would say. You know, being a member of a profession as a barrister in the UK, it's a privilege. It's an absolute privilege, and it's not a privilege that's open to everybody. You have to work hard to get there, and you have to work hard to stay there. And people traditionally from the sort of background that I would have grown up in are not common to find in the profession, you know. So some would say I've managed to social climb against the odds, you know, from the perspective of where I grew up. But there again, you know, my father's family were very middle class actually, you know. On my father's side, we had doctors, we had social workers, teachers. So from my father's side, it, you know, wasn't so unusual for me to become a professional. But certainly from my mother's side, my mother's family, I would say, would have been a typical blue-collar, working-class family, you know. So whilst on my father's side, I'm not the first, you know, I'm far from being one of the first children to graduate and go into a profession. I am on my mother's side, and my mother's side is the white side, and my father's side is the black Caribbean side. So going back to what I was saying, I was talking about how I felt my mother was misdiagnosed, okay, as having a form of schizophrenia. I don't know, I can't remember if I said that specifically, but my mother was misdiagnosed, in my opinion, and they called it undifferentiated schizophrenia. But the more I started to understand about mental health disorder, or mental disorder, and that really came from a combination of my professional interest at the time, and when I was training to be an approved social worker, and also just a personal quest to sort of answer questions that I couldn't really figure out when I was younger about my mother and her situation, right? So I came to the conclusion that she was actually misdiagnosed, and I'm convinced of that, and I'm convinced that my mother actually had a sort of moderate autism. I think she was moderately autistic, because it ticks all the boxes based on what I saw on a daily basis growing up with my mother, and literally till the day my mother passed away, you know. And so it's also made me think carefully about my own sort of characteristics, you know. And I'm not normal, guys. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I am not normal, okay? I'm not mental. I don't suffer from a mental disorder, thank goodness. And that's in no way sort of trying to slur people that unfortunately do have a mental disorder. Mental disorder is something very close to my heart, which is why I chose to work in that area when I was a social worker. But I am not normal, all right? And looking more into how higher functioning autism affects women in particular has made me start to suspect that I have certainly high functioning autistic tendencies. So what I want to do is I want to do a series of discussions about what that means and what the symptoms are, and how if you think that you may be a woman, for any ladies coming to my channel who can't explain certain behaviours, and maybe you can relate to some of what I'm saying, or you might have a relative, a female relative in your family or amongst your friend groups who might relate to some of what I have to say on the topic, you know. So certainly for the next couple of months then, well, may not even take me that long, I do intend to sort of run a series of videos dealing with those two separate topics, and it's sort of taking it and calling it a series, really. Think things through in that way. And one of the things I might do, sort of doing these series, is you might not see me visually, because sometimes, and again that goes back to me thinking about what makes me not always feel as though I'm sort of typically normal as a sort of the way I function in my personal life, is that sometimes, guys, I just can't be bothered to make the effort to sort of even look presentable to do these videos. I mean, I'm not saying I look really glamorous, but sometimes, you know, you can't just come on the screen looking anyhow. And sometimes I literally just want to, if I finish work, or I'm not in a meeting, I'm not going anywhere, no one's going to see me, I just literally want to just be able to sort of literally record, you know, without having to worry about, oh, you know, have I put on a little bit of eye makeup, have I put on some lip gloss? And I think I'll probably get more done that way. So what I'm thinking of doing is a sort of, some of the videos might be non-visual. So I'm going to put together a series of photographs where you can actually see me. And then I'll be sort of talking, and you'll just see a sort of rolling photo slides of my beautiful self whilst talking about these topics. And what you should also find, hopefully, is that there's a transcript. To all the videos, there should be a transcript, because I'm actually a premium subscriber. I don't know if this is something that if you're not a premium subscriber, you get access to. It could be, I've not checked, but I'm not really a great lover of ads popping up on the screen when I'm watching a YouTube video that I'm really interested in. So I've always been a subscriber to YouTube, so that I kind of get the premium features, which means that I don't have to worry about advertisements popping up whenever I am, you know, listening to an interesting video. Yeah. So yes, I just wanted to really explain that I plan on doing those two series, and we take it from there, you know, and to go for my walk. So wherever you are, I wish you a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. And if you're in the UK, I hope you know who you're going to vote for tomorrow. Do vote. I think it's important, you know. I mean, even going to tick the I'm not voting for any of these parties is a voice, you know. Is making the point rather than not going. Just turn up, and there's always you know, you could just tick not voting for anybody, and you're making your voice heard in that way, you know, if you just don't think that any of these political parties have anything to offer. and that's fine, fair enough. But do be a part of the process. You know, my daughter's going to grow, my youngest daughter who's at home, this is going to be the first time I think she's eligible to vote, or is it? Actually, I could be wrong about that, but I think there wasn't an election last time. No, there wasn't. So this is her first eligible election period where she can actually get involved. And she tells me she's going to vote for the Green Party, which is, I think, more and more a choice of her generation. She is, what is she? She's Gen Z. I think they call them Gen Z generation. So she's going to do that. So anyway, I hope you like this video. Please give a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Give a thumbs down. You think, oh, you know, you just come on in and you chat completely rubbish. It's all disorganized. Thumbs it down, guys. I'll improve. Give me time. It's very different, you know, when you're talking into a camera for personal reasons. I'm not doing this in my professional life, you know, where I'm presenting a case to the judge which has already been properly prepared, you know, and I know what I'm saying, and it's very different. So still get nervous, so bear with me, but thumbs up, thumbs down, and subscribe, and I shall see you in the next one. Bye bye.